Welcome to Woodturning. I don't have a prototype to show you today of what we're going to make because we're using a very expensive piece of Amboyna Burl.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best in class carbide wood turning tools.
Thompson lathe tools, made by a woodturner, for woodturners.
Well, things might look a little bit different today because we're practicing social distancing. Brian's at home and I'm shooting this by myself. So, you know, it might not look that pretty, but we'll get through this somehow. I was trying to think of an idea to do. I really hadn't planned anything. We've been kind of cooped up for a while. And as you can see behind my shelf, I've got all sorts of blanks of wood that I've saved over the years. One of these I got quite a while back. It's a piece of Amboyna Burl. And if you look real closely, I don't know if it's going to focus or not, but it says it's $112. I would never pay that for this. It is beautiful wood, but actually the store was going on a closeout sale, so I got it for pennies on the dollar. But anyway, I'm thinking what we're going to do is we're going to use as much of this wood as possible and make a really nice lidded box. So as you can see, this blank is a little bit rectangular, so the easiest way to make it square is to bring the narrowest side up here, slide in my guide till it touches the blade, lock it in, then turn it over on its side, and then we're going to run it through. Let's see if I got anything to hang on to it with. There's a nice push stick. Okay, here we go. Now what I want to do next is mark the center. It's not quite square, but since there is wax on here, what I'm going to use is an awl to scratch my center marks. Let's readjust this a little bit right here. And that way the wax, I'm scraping it away so I can see the X mark. If I tried to do that with a Sharpie or something, it'd probably just rub right off and wouldn't stick. Okay, now I've gone ahead and mounted the blank between centers, and I want to show you something here. Look at that beautiful burl in here. Now you can see it's more up to the top or on this end. So what that tells me is I do want to make this the top of my lidded vessel, my box, because I want to taper this down kind of like this in this shape. So if I'm wasting any of this $112 wood, I'm wasting the part that's not quite as pretty. So anyway, I've got that mounted between centers. We're going to start up slow here. You notice I had already rotated it so nothing was hitting. We'll bring our speed up a bit. I haven't turned something in balance for quite a while. This is going to be fun for once. Okay, here we go. Just get your body, slide it over, make contact with the wood. Bring your body back, lean into the cut. Little chippy. See what's chipping out there real quick. It's got a little rough edge here. You know what? Ho-ho! Check this out. This is not a spindle cut. The grain is actually running this way. No wonder I'm getting tear out. So this was sitting in the tree. Let me get this right. This is sitting in the tree like this. So the grain's running up. So I've got to switch tactics. I have to go with a bowl gouge at this point because that grain's going to keep tearing out, so I've got to come across it like so to make it cut. I was wondering why that was acting so weird. Okay, back at it. Nothing hits. Turn it on. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to come in from the side and see what we can do. Much nicer. I can already tell a difference. So I'm cutting across that torn grain this way now. So instead of doing big tear out like this, you can see there's very little tear out here. So I'll keep rounding this out, start on this end, and then we'll head on to the next step. Now you can see I'm starting to get my shape, and I switched over to an Easy Wood carbide tip because I had to keep sharpening. And Thompson's tools are incredible tools, and I really love them. I use them for a long time. But there are certain points when you're doing a turning where you just got to kind of give up the ghost and know what you're working with. In this case, like I said, this has been on my shelf for 20 years. It feels like concrete. It has taken a long time to dry, and it took full advantage of that 20 years. So I want to have this swept down in a nice cone shape, although I don't want to make it all the way the diameter at the base that I need it. This tastes great, because if I make that too narrow, I can't hollow this safely. Although I think it would hold up, this could snap off. Well, let's stop this real quick and just see what we're looking like. Oh, that is beautiful looking stuff, isn't it? Okay, I'm glad I took this as the end, because look at all that up here. There's a little bit comes down to here, so we're good. That's going to be my foot. I'm going to turn a tenon on here, and that's how we're going to hold it for hollowing. So I've got the piece turned around now, and it's mounted on the chuck with the tenon I turned. And for the top here, I'm just coming in and I'm putting a gentle curve, because I want the top to be kind of cool. I want it to shape up like this and then kind of round a little bit on the top like that, just give it a little artsy look. And I have a special idea for the lid here in a minute. Oops, craps. Remember, you remember a few months ago when I did a video on wedding rings and how I lost mine and everything, and it's been 5 years. I looked in the Lazy Boy the other day. I tipped it over to do some vacuuming. I thought, there's a little pocket I haven't checked yet. Found it. Let's see here. Let me do it this way. Found the thing. And actually, I've been so inseparable from it, and out of the doghouse, I'm very happy about that, that I completely forgot that I was wearing it. So let me take this off just for safety's sake. And said it's, no, it's going in my pocket. Not going to make that mistake twice. Okay, let's get back up to here. But anyway, yeah, found the ring. I'm doing good now. Thank goodness. Okay, anyway, back to curving this top here. I'm kind of going for a little bit of an oriental look. I'm not an expert with doing those shapes. Well, I'm not really an expert with about anything, but that's why you watch me, because you know you can't learn from perfect, right? So anyway, but I want to have a little fun today with the lid and the shape of this. This is such glorious wood. I really want to do the best for it and really try to highlight it. With all hollowing, no matter what system you use, whatever you do, if you put a hole in here ahead of time, it really makes life easy on you. Okay, I'm just testing my height here. I want to make sure that my cutting tip is on center, and I'm using a Hunter carbide cutting tip. It's not flat, it's scooped out, so it will cut really nicely. This is the elbow tool which I sell, and it attaches to your tailstock, comes out here. It's articulated, which is nice. It's good for hollowings up to about 10 to 12 inches deep. I have a bar on here, just a straight scraper, but since this wood is so hard and so dense, I'm going to go with the carbide here because it's going to cut a lot cleaner. Now with any hollowing system, make sure that your tool is always on center when you start. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to be at least on center, maybe even a little bit above. It helps with the cut, it makes it a lot cleaner. So you see how that cuts nicely. I can pick the speed up a bit here. I think I'm doing pretty good on that. And by leaving this thick down here, you can see that I have a lot of structure, a lot of support as I go in, because you're going to hear some vibration and some wobble sometime during this process. Because we're on the outer edge right here. You hear a little bit of wobble, just back your cut off just a little bit. And the other thing is take little nibbles of wood. Don't try to do the whole thing at once. So you can see I'm using my hand here as a pivot, and I'm pivoting the tool like this to make the cut. That helps me do the little nibbles. It's also easy to repeat, so I don't have to do a lot of adjustment. I just feed the tool forward just a little bit each time and let the tool do the work. There is very little hand strength going into this. I can remember all those years of white knuckling holding a long handled tool while I'm trying to hollow, and it was so stressful it drove me crazy. Oh, you can also see I've got my red dot, my laser right there, and so actually I need to adjust that just a bit. because I didn't adjust it from when I had my other tool tip in there a minute ago to checking it out. But anyway, you can see, let me do it this way. So you can see here, if I want my thickness of my wall to be about 1/4 of an inch, that's the distance right there. So I know where my tool tip is inside the wood. And then, oops, sorry, I knocked the camera there. When this goes off the outside of the wood, boop, then I know I'm at the thickness that I want. It's really handy. It saves having to go to the calipers every 5 minutes and, am I close or not? Because I've made a lot of funnels in my time, or a lot of shorter vessels too at the same time. I'm going to come in here, and I do want to stop there because I'm going to come back in with another tool and make a square lip on that. So when we put our lid in, it's got something to rest on. And the biggest thing is, don't get in a hurry. Take your time, because if you get in a hurry, you get into trouble. And what do we got right now? But lots of time on our hands, and we got a great hobby that helps us social distance, right? Okay, now I've kind of reached an area that I want to be just a little careful with, and I want to undercut the lip right here. And to do that, with this tool I can, but you can see that it's got a bigger block and it's got this long piece of metal hanging out here. I can do it, but it's a little sketchy. John Jordan makes a series of really, really nice hollowing bars, and they fit inside the elbow tool. These are really cool because it has a tiny little scraper in there, probably 3/16 of an inch. I think that's right. Don't quote me. But anyway, if you want a good set of bars, I'd go to John Jordan's website. They're really great pricing, and he's a really good guy. He's had some health issues lately, so throw any business his way, that'd be kind of nice. But anyway, watch how this just takes delicate little cuts right there. Really cool. So I'm just going to use this and worry away the wood here and undercut this lip, and then I can go back to the other tool to continue hogging out the wood. Now, I'm not done hollowing yet, but I have gone about this deep. So what I want to do now is actually finesse and finish the shape on the outside, because I think I've got enough strength to narrow the base down a little bit and then hollow the rest of it. And you'll hear a little chatter. Hear that? Anytime you remount something and reverse it and turn around, there's always a chance it's going to be a little bit off. So you got to come back and clean up that cut. Now this is like making a giant bead, so I just want to sneak up on it as I go. I don't want to rush it. So I want to start bringing this in at more of an acute angle. I really want this to have a delicate bottom on it. So I'm swinging my body just like I would with a regular edge tool. The nice thing is that I'm using the front of this tool as a balance, so it keeps me from wiggling too much. So I can come in and just watch the edge up here and make my shape. It's looking pretty good. I still want to narrow it down a bit more, but once I have that done, we're going to go back to hollowing again. Okay, now I've worried myself all the way down to the bottom, and the last thing I have left to get, and you can't really see it, is a little divot left from the drill bit that went in. So I moved over to my straight scraper, and I've got it set exactly on center right in there, and I can feel that little nub. So I'm going to turn this on, and we're just going to do a real small scrape across. I'm going to let this go in and bottom out. It's going to center itself up when I hit that spot. There it is. And then I'm just going to move it back and forth, just like so, and it's just taking some little bitty nibbles of wood off. And by doing that, I now have actually evened out the bottom so it doesn't look like I used a drill bit to begin with. Now, nothing more boring than hollowing than sanding, but that's what we got to do now. Well, I've been looking at this and trying to figure out exactly what to do with the lid, because I wanted to do just like a burl across the top and then a little ebony tip on it, and I thought, well, it's been done. So I found this blank of, whoops, better not knock that, this blank of Maple Burl laying around. I don't know if this is going to work, but if I could find enough surface in there, maybe this could be the lid. We'll have to see how it goes. Never know till you try. Okay, I've been working with a negative rake scraper, and I've just been slowly trying to get down to this diameter. So I use my calipers to get a really tight measurement of what that hole is right there. And I'm trying to be so careful not to go past that. And I'm really just almost there within sanding distance, I think. So you can see I've got a low spot here which looks up into that, which is nice. And I have another low spot about right here, so I think I'm probably going to have to take a pencil, make a mark on my lowest spot here, and that's probably where I'm going to need to part this off. So I'll make a parting cut with my parting tool just to mark that, and then I'm probably going to sand myself down to that final diameter that I want, just to be safe. I'm going to stay a little proud of that, just so I have a little bit of room. There we go. Now I know where the base of my lid is going to be. Now this might look like crap when I'm done, but I don't know, it might look pretty neat too. We'll just see how it goes. That's what you call playing while you're social distancing. Yeah, then I need something else. Perfect. Woohoo! Okay. Yeah. Worked. This is what I really enjoy about wood turning, is what works and what doesn't. I mean, technically I could say that works, but it's like this big huge thing. If I can lower this a ½ inch or so, I'd be happier. And I'm thinking if I can take it and angle it and then cut across, it'll go down a little bit lower, maybe about like that, then it might look good. We'll see. Well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. I've got this clamped in some wood jaws, so if I mess up, the jaws get cut, and who cares? It's not me being cut. And the other thing is I've set my fence here to keep this going straight across the way I want it. So it's right on the edge of the jaws. We'll see how this goes. Take it really slow here. Whew. Well, I did a little bit of extra sanding, and because I wound up making an oval instead of a circle, so I had to sand this into a circle again. But that's looking pretty doggone cool. And now let's do the fun stuff. Get some paper towel out here. So this has been a fun test on social distancing. I have missed not having Bryan around. It's very helpful. It's twice the work to do this by yourself. I don't know how the other men and women out there who are doing their YouTube channels manage this stuff, but they're doing better than me, I bet. So I'm going to dab this on pretty thick. I'm using Danish oil. And you want that first coat to be nice and sloppy, and then you wipe off the excess. Then you put a second coat on. It works really good. But this Maple Burl Cap right here is going to look really cool. Even the bottom of it is really spectacular. I don't want to not show that, but you can see it when you open up your box. But here comes the really fun part. This Amboyna Burl, which I've had on my shelf for a long time, waiting just for the perfect pandemic. Here we go. Holy cow, is that not incredible? Now what I like about the Danish oil is it won't be shiny, so all the beauty of the wood will come out. It's just shiny right now because it's kind of wet. But it does soak in pretty good. Like I said, it's been drying for 20 years. So we'll do the top here and get it in here. And I'll probably pour some Danish oil inside and just coat the inside and pour out the excess. And then try to dry it out somehow. Get the bottom there. Well, that is incredible looking. Gonna wait for another coat here, but that is how you make an Amboyna Burl box with a natural burl cap lid. So until the next time on wood turning, and seriously, take care of yourself and be safe. And get out and have some fun by social distancing yourself and get in your shop and do some turning. Cool. Okay, how do I stop these? Now I got gloves on. Yeah, crap. Let's see. Let's see, how do I turn these off with gloves? Let's see. That one's off. Yeah. Where's the on-off button? There it is, yeah.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best-in-class carbide wood turning tools.
Thompson lathe tools, made by a woodturner for woodturners.